Can everybody make your way to a seat at a table so we can get started? Look around here, talking to you. All right, while everyone's finding their seat, we're going to go ahead and get started. First off, I just wanted to say thank you all, everybody, for coming out tonight. I know at the risk of sounding like a broken record for the last 18 plus months, these are challenging times, and I know attending events like this in person is maybe not always the easiest or most straightforward decision, but certainly hard to replicate this kind of event over Zoom. So very much appreciate you all taking the time out of your busy schedules to be with us tonight. Quick programming note, if you need to get up at any time, use the bathroom, use the bar, grab some more food, please do so. This is really an informal, kind of a free-flowing event, so you're not going to disrupt anything if you need to get up and take care of any business. So let me start with some introductions. I'm Derek Furlan, I'm the Sullivan County Manager, and here presenting with me tonight, Penelope Whitman. She is the Economic and Community Development Field Specialist for our UNH Cooperative Extension Office in Newport. Penny, give a wave. Yeah, that's a title. That's why I'm not hitting the bar tonight, because it's hard to say that after a week. And we also have from Solimar International, who's a contractor that we just hired to help us with our destination development, is Chris C. and Zane. Oh man. Hartog. I went over this. I practiced a bunch of times. So thank you both, Chris and Zane. And we also have some elected officials in the room. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to some of our state reps. Chairman of the delegation, John Cloutier, is here. And we have Representative Sue Gottlieb from Sunapee. And we have Representative Judy Aaron from Ackworth. And also 2 of our 3 county commissioners are here tonight. Commissioner Joe Osgood and Commissioner Ben Nelson, who is going to say a few words. Yes.
Welcome, and it's nice to see such a big crowd on a busy season. And I'm just going to kind of do, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago, the county dipped its toe in economic development, and it was a conventional thing, trying to locate industries and bring them in, and we ran into the local control, was we identify one that might go in this town, and the other town said, why not my town? So we got out of that business. And but that's something that we always, we want to raise the economy of the area. And so we convened a bunch of business roundtables, and heard a bunch of things loud and clear. And one was we need skilled labor. So we've worked with the tech centers in Newport and Claremont and done adult ed classes, wonderful facilities, busy during the day, not doing much at night. And so we've got some grant funding, some county grant funding, and done adult ed classes in welding, machine tool, carpentry, and got those graduates out into the industry to try and provide some skilled labor, which everybody's screaming for. And the other thing, and we've done a lot with the arts, did some National Association of Counties grants to work with the Library Arts Center and the arts community, and have an arts map, help with the arts map that's out there for destination, for that type of stuff. And the other thing was the area doesn't have an identity. We're not really, Sunapee obviously is Lake Sunapee area, but that doesn't quite fit Claremont or Newport. And we had a lot of people, even in the tourism industry, say this area needs an identity that we can market. And so Penelope is with the UNH Cooperative Extension, and that's one of our partners, so we've collaborated with that. And I think, I'm not going to get into how the Sugar River region came about. I assume that's going to happen organically. So that's what this is all about, is trying to come up with the identity that fits this area and run it. So that's kind of why we're here, and thank you all for coming.
All right, thanks, Commissioner Nelson. Okay, so in a minute I'm going to turn it over to Penelope, and then she's going to turn over to Chris, and then it's going to be a fun, interactive hour and a half or so. We are going to get a lot of information out of you tonight, so if you thought it was just show up and be in receive mode, you're wrong. You're here to work. That's why we are applying you with food and drink. So why are we here? Some of you remember about 5 years ago, roughly 4.5 years ago, we kind of reinvigorated this economic development discussion with a project we called the Regional Economic Profile. There was a meeting in Newport up in the Richards Library in May of 2017. Some of you in this room were here then. And that really kicked off some of these discussions and these themes that Commissioner Nelson referenced. And since then, work has continued, sometimes in large group meetings like this, more often in smaller group, we call them task forces and small group engagements, with a variety of people from across the county, different industry backgrounds, different roles within the community. And Penelope and I have been privileged to participate in those because everything that we have put together has originated from somebody in the community. The Good Idea Fairy didn't just magically land on our shoulders. We're just stitching together the great ideas and the important themes that we're hearing from you all. So that's another reason why doing this in person is so important. So we're going to just talk quickly where we've been in the last 4.5 years, where we are today, and then when we turn it over to Chris, Chris is going to give us an idea of where we're headed. So I talked about the meeting back in May of 2017. From those first meetings, the themes that emerged, that jumped right out, and this will surprise nobody in this room, things like workforce development, the availability of housing stock, the importance of having a diversified economy, the absence of broadband throughout the county. I mentioned workforce development, demographics, our aging workforce, our aging population, and kind of what is this community going to look like in 20 years. And then the quality of life and recreational assets. And so those immediately came to the forefront. From those early meetings, we worked on 3 task forces. We had a workforce development task force, an economic infrastructure task force, and a regional identity / quality of life task force. And some of the work that emanated from those task forces were the adult education programs that the county started to sponsor through the tech centers in both Claremont and Newport. Our inmate education and training programs, primarily at the Claremont Tech Center during the summers. The Love Sullivan campaign, which Penelope is going to talk about a little bit more, that many of you personally participated and contributed to. And our business leader roundtables, which was a great opportunity to get to every corner of the county and talk to people from businesses, both large and small, and everything in between, to just get their first-person perspectives on the things that matter to them and the things that keep them up at night, as well as also hear from them what they think the strengths and weaknesses of our region are. So we've accumulated all this wonderful input, and another initiative along the way was sponsored by the National Association of Counties. In 2018, we sent a team. There were 7 counties across the country out of over 45 that applied. So we were one of 7 that got to send a team to Des Moines, Iowa. And if you've never been to Des Moines, Iowa, I'm sure it's a wonderful place, but in February and March, it's probably not so much. I think they froze to death out there, but that was a creative placemaking workshop. And so a lot of these ideas about how do we invigorate the creative economy with culture and art and things like that, which are some themes, again, that resonate for our audience as well. That led to an excellent project, not under the county's auspices, but just kind of a partner offshoot, if you will, with the Library Arts Center in Newport, the Lake Sunapee Area Chamber, and some other key stakeholders, but those I think were the 2 drivers of an art and culture asset map that was launched this past summer. Again, these same themes of celebrating the wonderful strengths of our region. And then we also participated in an effort that was sponsored by Vital Communities. It was called the Route 11 Project, and there were some subgroups to that. One of them was branding and marketing, and so Penelope and I participated. And that's really where the seeds were sown of this idea of what's this unifying identity and this theme that really makes sense and resonates for us. And so we thought, well, Route 11 makes sense because geographically it sort of stitches us from east to west across the county, but it's a highway. It's kind of a sterile object, and that doesn't really speak to who we are. So Penelope kind of stumbled, and she's like, well, what about the Sugar River? And I was like, oh my God, it's so obvious. So I could have had a V8 moment, and that's where the idea of the Sugar River region as a branding concept to answer the question, who are we, it took root, and that was a little bit over a year ago. So that's kind of the handoff now. That's where we've been, these meetings that we've had. I know you probably thought, didn't you guys, were you all working on that? What happened to that? Well, it kind of devolved into smaller work groups. The work has continued. I wish I could get Penelope to work faster, but sometimes she can't. No, I'm just kidding. She's been hard at work on this, as many of you know, and she will now take us to kind of where we are today, and then hand it over to Chris.
Thank you so much, Derek. It is so amazing to see you all here. It's really fun, and I do appreciate, I know it's a risky time to be out in public, but I appreciate you taking the risk and coming out. So one slight correction to Derek's remarks about kind of randomly coming up with the Sugar River. There was a reason we were talking about rivers. And the reason why we were talking about rivers is because through the Love Sullivan project, we realized that what you all love so much about this region, more than anything else really, is its beauty, its natural resources. Anybody here upload a photo to that project, the Love Sullivan project? Yay, I'd love to see it. So what that is, did I bring it up here? These cards are at the desk. This was a crowdsourced map, a story map that ArcGIS, a mapping platform, made available. And I worked with a little bit and created a website just for us where you all could take a photo with your smartphone and upload it to this website, to this platform. And we printed out these cards. Bob Porter, actually, I don't know whether Bob's here, but he was the one that was responsible to get this card designed and organize the printing. And then he helped distribute it throughout the county. And we said, come on, you guys, tell us what it is about this place that you love so much, because we know you love it, but we don't know precisely why. And the photos started going up, and with each photo was a little description of these special places. And as some of you know, people in one town learned about cool things in another town next door that they never knew about, even if they had grown up here. And it became this great source of pride. If you go to this website now, you can scroll down. There are like 140 sites, 150 sites that have been uploaded, and it's still taking more, so you can put more on there. And you can scroll down, and it's just one beautiful photo after another. And there's this sense of, wow, this place is amazing, you know? But nobody else really knows that. So I tell the story, I told it in my job interview 4.5 years ago, that I went to the Visitor Information Center near Grantham on 89 when I was driving around here trying to get familiarized with the area before my job interview that evening. And I stopped at the Visitor Information desk, went in and said, hi, you know, I had this job interview in Sullivan County, and what should I go see? And the guy opened up the map and got out the highlighter, you know how they do that, where they mark the places to go. And he looked at the map and looked at the map, and he said, you know, there's nothing there. And I thought, how could that be? You know, you guys know that there's so much here. And it's not that this gentleman was disrespecting this region. It's that there's nothing out there about it. So what this work is about is getting this region on the map so that other people, when they stop at the visitor center and ask that question, there's information. And it's not a bunch of different brochures put out by this town or that town or this organization. I mean, you want all of those things too, but you want something that is broader, that says we are here and we have this identity and we're proud and we're building, you know? That's exciting. And that just shows grit and innovation. So that's what we're doing. But the natural resources thing, when we counted up all the assets that had been uploaded, they were I don't know, it was like 70% natural resources or views or trails. And so we said, whatever our brand is, it has to be something to do with nature. And then we did look at the map. And I said, looking at this crabby map, there was this little line that went from Sunapee to Claremont. And I said, what is that? And it was Derek. I said, it's the Sugar River. I said, the Sugar River? How sweet is that? It's such a great brand. It's so appealing. So, not to mention, and this is something that you all know way better than me, the Sugar River is why we're all here. I mean, the Sugar River is the reason why this place was settled hundreds of years ago, because the Sugar River was the power that, ran all those water wheels that created the industry that brought the people. So we need to look over at the Sugar River and realize that it can do more for us. It can become a recreational asset for this region. That's where the logo came from. So I just have a couple questions for you all. We worked with a designer to develop this logo, and we took it around, Derek and I, mostly it was through Zoom, I think because it was the beginning days of COVID, but we started with an earlier design, and we took it to different groups, and everybody had something to add. Like Rob said, hey, there should be maple trees in those stands of trees in that logo. And someone at the Newport Chamber said, hey, there needs to be a covered bridge. And so we kept kind of fine-tuning it, and this is where we landed. Derek likes to talk about the heraldry in this logo. Everything in this logo means something. So we have the flying goose for Sunapee. We have the Monadnock style peak, because that's the kind of mountain we have around here. We don't have mountain ranges. We have Sunapee, we have Kearsarge, we have Ascutney. This is what the views look like if you live here. We have the Lazy S for Sullivan or for Sugar River. We have the maple trees. We are the largest maple syrup producing county in the state. And we're the proud home of Bascom's, which is, I think, the largest supplier in New England. What else? We have our conifer stands. And then we have this tagline, New Hampshire made here. And what that's about is, this has been a place of makers for many, many generations. We have our industry, we have our creatives, we have the makerspace. There was the Cornish colony. We have all these artists here. We are communities that make things. And we're also making ourselves. We're remaking ourselves. And so not only have we made ourselves before, but we are in this process of remaking ourselves. And when we say New Hampshire Made Here, it's an invitation to come be part of our growth. So that's the story behind the logo. We developed the logo, we did all our engagements, and then we knew that we needed a group of stakeholders to help us continue this process of destination development. So we formed a destination council. Could those of you who are on the council just put your hands up? We've got these great folks from various industries or representatives or just passionate citizens who've worked hard this summer to come up with a vision and a brand, a vision and a mission for our destination work. And this is all great, but we knew that we needed a little more help. So our USDA Arbog grant, Rural Business Opportunity Grant that we got, we were the only organization in New Hampshire who applied for that grant to get it, has helped us bring in my friend and colleague, Chris Seek and Zane Hartog from Solimar International to help us figure out how to build an organization and how to really see through this destination development process. So I hope I haven't spoken too long. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm happy to introduce Chris.
right, thank you, Penelope. It's absolutely a pleasure to be here, and I have just enjoyed such a wonderful hospitality over the last few days, seeing all these tremendous assets that you have here, but also meeting some wonderful people as well. You guys have been truly welcoming, and I think that's the spirit of the community, and I think that's one of the reasons why you stand to benefit tremendously from this visitor economy that we're going to talk about here tonight. As Derek mentioned, our goal here today is to really hear from you. But before we do that, just to give you some kind of opening remarks here, I just want to kind of give you a little background. As Penelope mentioned, I started a company called Solimar about 20 years ago because I had this passion for seeing how the visitor economy, when managed and developed the right way, can really have an amazing impact on communities. I grew up in a small town in Maryland, and I was surrounded by farming communities, and I just slowly watched these farms disappear and just houses come along and just subdivision after subdivision. And, you know, I joke with my dad now because he's there, and I'm like, yeah, you could Airbnb your house, but you've got nothing left because there's nothing really here that's interesting. And meanwhile, my mom came up here to Laconia, and I spent the last 10 years coming to visit her, and you know, just really fell in love with the state and just saw that town transform over the last few years, watching the main street at the beginning kind of, you know, a little rundown, and now all of a sudden a new life and new investment and younger people who had left and coming back and opening breweries and music venues. And, you know, so seeing that excitement. And so that's something that I'm really passionate about. I love watching communities realize their potential. And I have a wonderful job. I get to travel all over the world and visit wonderful places. I've worked in over 300 destinations in over 81 different countries. We're working with the state of Colorado right now, helping them with their tourism recovery, organizing workshops all over the state, trying to have conversations with what's working with the visitor economy, what are the challenges, working with the National Park Service on the Lewis and Clark Heritage Trail, trying to help all the communities along some of those distressed communities there with the Ohio River and such, look and turn towards the visitor economy and tourism as an opportunity for them. And, you know, I've been blessed because I've worked with all of these different places, and I've seen all these different places, and I've seen tourism work really well in certain places, and I've also seen it really take over places for not necessarily the best. I've seen people who complain where residents are just up in arms because they're like, enough, we don't want any more visitors here. And as I saw all these different places, I started seeing kind of some themes here. You know, what is it that makes a good destination? What makes a good visitor experience? You know, we're all visitors. We've all gone to places. We all are experts in our way of being tourists or visitors in other places. And sometimes we just go to a place and everything just works. It's just like, it's nice. It's the setting of the town, and you walk into the square and there's shops and there's retail and there's a nice cafe and bar, and maybe there's a river you can walk along with signage that tells you the history, and everything just is working, and you have this wonderful experience, and you have a nice hotel and you have different options, and you think, wow, this is just a nice town, how lucky they are. But the reality is, in almost every tourism destination, really, there was an engine behind that made it work. And that's really what people don't realize, is that it's this idea of a destination organization. We call them destination management organizations or destination marketing organizations. But these are really the engines behind the scene that are trying to connect everyone that's involved in the industry to work together, to work collaboratively. Because as we all know, the visitor experience is delivered by a lot of different pieces. It's not like going to a Disney World where you have one company and they take care of everything for you. It's when you come to a place like this, it's the taxi that you get in, it's the shops that you go and stop in on, it's the sidewalk even there? Is it got cracks in it? Am I going to fall down? Are there things for me to buy that I might be interested in? All of that comes together with a lot of different small and medium businesses. And so the destination organization kind of brings together all of those businesses and brings together the government as well, because we know the public sector plays a very important role in creating what I call the enabling environment for making tourism or the visitor economy work. If we do not have a good workforce, we're not going to have good servers at the restaurant or people working in our hotels. And so Where does that come from? That comes from investments in our educational system, understanding the needs of our industry and making sure that those that are going through the education system are being trained with the skills that the industry is demanding. But we also need investments in infrastructure. You know, I love these mills, and I love the work that was done to save these buildings, and this building that we're in right here. I mean, this is absolutely stunning. I mean, we've all been to a lot of different hotels, but there's something unique and different about this one. And that's because it's this historical building. And that doesn't come just because you had a lucky investor who came in here. There was a lot of work that went into that, a lot of effort that made this happen. So that's really what it takes to be a successful destination, is we have to work together. And that's where the role of this destination organization comes into play. And so it's been really exciting seeing and learning about this kind of early effort and the people that have been involved, everyone who's volunteered their time to attend meetings and discuss and give feedback on a logo or upload your photos of your favorite places. You know, that's a lot of kind of, you know, social capital. You all are donating your time and passion and energy because you know this place has something to offer. You know this place is a great place to live, and you want other people to realize that as well. You want to tell people about this, and that's what's really exciting about this initiative. So before we talk about what we're going to do here today, I just want to give you one example here, one story of another destination we had a chance to work in. I was asked to go work in an area called the Verde Valley. There's the Verde River there that was outside of Arizona, just about 2 hours north of Phoenix. And the river was at threat because it was a lot of development pressures were going in, and there was a lot of questions of whether or not the river was going to stay. And so they asked us to go in and kind of try to bring these communities that all were along the river together to see if we can use tourism and the visitor economy as a way to make a case for why we might want to protect this river. And so as we went and we met these small communities, there's the town of Jerome, which is an old mining town that's up on the hill, and you got Cottonwood, which was, again, at the time, it was like really almost you didn't want to stop in. It was kind of scary. The main street was not that nice. It was, you know, for a long time, people were just like, get out of Cottonwood. You don't want to stay there. And then you had Clarkdale and Camp Verde. And then you had Sedona. And all of these were all connected, very similar to what I've seen here the last couple days. And, you know, they shared an identity because they were all in one region. They used to work collaboratively together, but they just kind of were on their own. And each town was so small that they didn't have somebody who was helping them create a brochure that showed all the things to do in the area or help highlight the event that they worked so hard to put on every year that no one even knew about and these kind of things. And so we came in and said, what if we kind of all came together? What if we created a Sedona Verde Valley Tourism Council? And we brought these different communities together. And Sedona, who was doing very well with tourism, said, I love that idea because we want to support these communities. We are having problems with too much visitors in our place. So we love to send our visitors out for the day and go to somebody else's trails and come back. And so we brought these 6 communities together and we sat down and we talked about, okay, what's the identity? What are we going to call this? What's the logo going to look like? How do we tell the story about our region? What do we all have in common? What are the themes that while we're each different, there are certain themes that unite us together as a group? And can we tell stories about what makes this place really special and unique? And so each community said, yes, we want to do this. They each chipped in a little bit in order to create this tourism council. And we worked with them over many years to help them basically just start telling their story and help getting the word out. Next thing you know, Cottonwood's Main Street became this like revitalization story with wine tasting rooms and retail shops, and Jerome was opening up new restaurants, and Sedona was happy because a lot of their visitors were going out as well, and they were also changing their brand because Sedona was running into a problem where it was mostly older travelers, and so they wanted to appeal to a younger traveler, which of course all the wineries and stuff that was happening around there did so. So it's this regional collaboration that actually worked for every one of those communities. They realized that by coming together and working collaboratively, they could achieve more than if they tried to do it alone. They each still did their own things as they see fit, but they worked as well in this regional effort. They got recognized by the state of Arizona as being one of the best examples of regional collaboration, and we've been asked again in other parts to kind of see if we can kind of replicate that. But I guess my point here is that there is a power of coming together and looking at a way in which you can create this identity and be able to work together to promote our region. And I think you've got a great opportunity to do so here in this region as well. So what we'd like to do now is we're going to be working on, they've asked us to, when originally we were asked to look at this, this help, it was originally framed as a website. And I remember looking at it and saying, I think you need a little bit more than a website. You know, who's going to own the website? Who's going to update the website? Who's going to pay for the hosting of the website when the year's over and you have to pay for the domain fee? And that's where I was kind of saying, you know, I think this is more about a destination development process where we're guiding and leading where we are today, looking at where you want to go in the future, figuring out what needs to be done and what's already being done in order to get you closer to that vision. But then also looking at how do we strengthen this council that's been created and look to see about how that could actually be into a formal organization that has a business model behind it to ensure sustainable funding is available so that you have the resources needed. And how does this organization complement, not compete with our chambers and our other efforts? We have economic development offices. How can this organization complement all of those efforts as well? And so that's what we're looking to do through this engagement is first develop this, what we're calling a destination development plan. So this will be just a very high level kind of, here's where we want to go with our visitor economy. Here's our priorities in terms of what we need to do in order to focus our resources and our time in order to help us achieve that vision that we want to, that we established. And then from there, we can then start asking the questions of what is the best model for this organization? And then how then does the website then bring this all together and help us achieve our mission? And like we said, when we first started, I remember thinking, okay, it's all about the visitor. It's all about the visitor. I've been here 3 days now, and I know the visitor is important, but it's also very clear to me from the conversations I've had with many of this room, it's more than just the visitor. It's about connecting the communities. It's about getting folks that are in some of our other communities to come to other communities and visit our art shops and eat at our restaurants and just be proud about where you live and then how that can then result in more people who want to work here and live here. And what does that mean for our manufacturing industry partners as well? So we know that this is more than just attracting visitors. Of course, promoting ourselves and presenting ourselves to the outside world and saying who you are and who you're not and being able to say this is the kind of visitors that we want as well. There's all kinds of visitors out there. They're not all the same. So if you're at the wheel, and that's what it comes down to with destination management, is that you're managing the destination. You're not just hoping for the best. You're not just hoping that one day someone puts signs out that tells the history of this community. It has to be an effort. Someone has to be there. And if you're managing the destination, you can also select who you want to market to, who you want to invite into your communities, and then ask them as well to be respectful when they do come and visit and appreciate what you have to offer. So very excited to be able to join you in this journey and to work with you on this. Like you said, the goal now is to hear from you, and we want to hear what your ideas are for the destination. What do you see as the needs and priorities? And we're not going to get into the weeds of looking at the business side of the DMO and how's that going to work and all those questions. What we want to do tonight is just look at what is it you want this visitor economy to look like. I want you to think, and I've got an exercise here. We're going to have each table work in small groups. You're going to work together. You're going to discuss among yourselves, and they're going to share with the larger group. And what we're going to be asking you to do is to first begin with thinking into the future. I want you to go into the year 2035. I want you to imagine, first of all, how old are you in the year 2035? What are you like? Are you still working? Where are your kids? Like, you know, put yourself into that year of 2035. And once you think about that year, I want you to describe what is it that you would like to see with the Sugar River region's visitor economy. What does it look like? What's changed? What's the same? What have you maintained? What is different? Do you have, we've had some great conversations about the biking trails and all the opportunities with bikes. How has that evolved in 15 years? What does that look like? Our snowmobile trails, and we've heard a lot about those throughout the last couple of days. What does that look like? Who's coming here? What kind of visitor is coming here? What are they doing when they're here? How many restaurants do we have? What does that look like? So we're going to ask you first to think about that and to really think about what you would like to see and that year 2035 with the visitor economy. So what we're going to do, Zane's passing around a little worksheet here that's going to have a summary of this instructions. First, what we'd like to do is have each one of you just go around the table among your group and just share your vision. What would you like? What's your dream for the region when it comes to specifically this visitor economy? And then after you've done that, and after you've had a chance to talk about it among yourselves, we then want you to select 2 people in your group. One person's going to be a reporter, and one person's going to be, it could be anyone. It could be a tourist, it could be a hotel owner, it could be a council member, and you're going to do an interview, okay? You're going to prepare an interview in order to share with the larger group what tourism looks like in the year 2035 with the visitor economy. So if I were to ask Penelope, let me use this as an example here. We're going to go ahead and do a quick role play here, okay? Just so we can see what it gets. So you guys are going to talk among yourselves, you're going to discuss what the vision is, and then you're going to select 2 people to basically do what Penelope and I are about to do here. So I'm going to be the reporter, and I'm going to ask Penelope. I just came from, I put on my sheet here, I'm from BBC. I was brought from London. I got flown over to Claremont because I heard about this amazing tourism destination. And this, it's absolutely stunning how this town and this region in New Hampshire has evolved into this world-class, wonderful visitor destination. So, Penelope, you're a visitor here. Where are you from? What brings you here to Claremont?
Let's see. I'm actually put me on the spot or what?
This is why you get a chance to talk about it.
So I'm visiting from Washington, D.C.
Okay, and what brings you? Why did you pick here?
Because I saw this amazing brochure.
But what appealed to you? What was here that really drew you in?
The combination of recreation. I saw maps of all these great hiking trails, and since it's 2035, I'm definitely not 35 anymore. And I could see that there were trails that I could still do and still get to great views. The fresh air, also a great local food scene. There are these wonderful little one-off breweries here.
Nice.
And
where are you staying?
I'm staying in a small inn that has 17 rooms.
Okay, you get the point here. What we're trying to do, again, is get you to dream into the future. We're getting you to think into the future and describe what it'll look like. Maybe she took the high-speed rail direct from Washington, D.C. right into here. But again, have fun with it. Just dream into the future. We want to hear what you'd like the place to look like into the future. That's the first part of the exercise. And the second part of the exercise, we're going to be handing out these little sheets of paper. We want you to help us identify, what do you see are the priority actions? What needs to happen? We're putting together this destination development plan, and the key to this destination development plan is identifying what are the priorities. What do we need to focus on right now? Do we need more events? Do we need to work on our workforce? What are the things that we really need to focus on in order to achieve the vision that you shared with the group here? So those are the 2 exercises we're looking for. Dream into the future and help identify what do you think are the biggest priorities that this destination development plan needs to focus on.
Should we suggest if you're at a table with just a few folks and you feel comfortable, feel free to move to another table so you can have a full round of ideas.
Yep. All right. If you guys have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and we'll come over.
Right over.
I know you guys. I'm Marty. I'm managing. Yes. It's quiet almost everywhere in it's kind of like what you went to amazing different
Which is great. All right. Don't start with you guys. Okay, we'll come back to you guys. Let's see. How about this group back here? Can we start with you guys? Do we have a volunteer here who wants to start off on this side? All right. So what we'd like you to do. So what we're asking everyone to do is first start off just with a quick little interview to kind of help us paint your picture of what you'd like to see in 2035, right? So that's that vision for the future. You can do that however you want, with whatever questions you want to ask each other, but the idea is just to help share your vision with the larger group of what you'd like to see in 2035. And then from there, we'll move into your specific actions that you're recommending, okay? So first a little role play. If you use a British accent, that's a bonus point if you want to do that.
Well, like this one, make it easier to start a bit.
No, you can do whatever. You can be the mayor, whoever you want.
I guess you can say what do you think? I can throw some of our notes here.
Yes, please. Please.
Oh, I'm the first. I don't know. Okay, all right, I'm ready. I'm here. I'm on it.
I can ask all of you.
Right.
Oh, hi. I'm from NBC and News. Here in Claremont, New Hampshire today. Just came from Summit. It's pretty awesome. What are you doing here in town?
Well, I own a bed and breakfast.
Oh, that's great. Oh, you own a bed and breakfast. Where's that located?
Right here in Claremont. Right up of, you know where the old Goddard Mansion is? Right there. That's where we are.
Oh, does it have a spa?
It does. It
Oh,
does.
that's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, but this was an action too.
Are there any art exhibits or shows I can go to around the area?
There sure are. We have a wonderful Claremont Opera House as well as fantastic street art on Pleasant Street.
That's amazing. Is there anything else, like, you know, if I go to Sunapee, are there craft fairs or anything like that?
There is. There's some big ones over there. Newport's got one. Sunapee's got one. We are just, you know, if you enjoy made stuff by people, you know, not, you know, local people, we've got that. We've got
That's great. Yeah, and let's see. What's your
stuff.
what are your feelings on
Leslie?
Just kidding, we won't go there. So are there like bike paths or hiking trails or anything like
We've
that?
got a world-class mountain bike enduro park here, by golly.
That is amazing.
It is.
Huh. All right.
It's epic.
And you,
It's
sir,
epic.
sir, how long have you lived here?
I
Do you live here?
just moved here for the riding.
Oh, where do you come from? California?
Canada.
Oh, that's cool. Did you come down on the train?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, now that runs right straight to Claremont.
Yes.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, I heard it goes from Claremont to Concord to Boston too. Is that true?
Yeah, we have a train that goes over to Boston as well.
That's cool. All right, I should stop.
All right. Let's give these guys a round of applause here. Yeah, so if you could share these bullets with us of what you're recommending. I think we picked up on some of them, but what are you recommending that needs to be happening in order to realize that vision?
Somebody else.
That's a good person to give the mic to.
Yeah, so what we need to do to make these actions happen is identify, promote, educate the regional outdoor recreation experiences. And then we need to link those experiences with downtown economies throughout the region. While we do that, we're gonna embrace the maker and build the arts and culture in our downtown areas to help link those resources together. And then through Pride, we're gonna foster volunteerism in the community, and then institute collaboration between the regions with the schools and different businesses and places to really build and foster the educational experiences here in the area.
All right, excellent. Well done, guys. Anything missed here?
They had to cross it out. They didn't let it go. We won't talk about
All
it. It's fine.
right, we're not sure what that one is. We'll come back to that. All right, thank you guys. That was great. All right, let's see. How about this group over here?
Can we
You ready?
not do that? I feel like
Whatever you guys like. If you guys don't feel comfortable with the acting, you're fine.
We have more of a situation where it's more of a discussion.
Okay, that's fine.
In 2035, we think there's a tremendous amount of potential for our young. What we're really hoping for is that our younger people want to come here, or people around the area want to come here to experience something new, and then the people who are here want to stay. And that's been a big problem for us: is people staying. They're like, I'm out of here, and we don't want that. We want to make a bunch of reasons to stay because there's opportunity in community growth in hospitality and tourism and industry. And I think we've got plenty of space, you know, where Washington Street might be pretty jammed up. Heading out to Charlestown is not, heading up to Newport is not. So there's so much room where we can grow. I know, I keep saying we, I know it's a lot more than just Claremont in Newport and Charlestown. But they're kind of the big three, besides Sunapee, which is a whole other ballgame. So we're hoping for just more opportunities for the kids to come and stay. We're hoping for more education, better school systems. I think that's one of the things that's a drawback for us. People, I know as a realtor, people coming in, they're like, well, where are my kids going to be going to high school? I say, well, they're going to be going to Stevens High School. How long has it been here? Well, for 200 some odd years. You know, it's crazy. So just, well, there's not necessarily a new school system, but really putting town and the industry and the funds behind it to make sure that it's a great education. One thing we also talk about is a lot of times you need something, if you're going to go somewhere, you need something you can trust. And we don't have the big name restaurants or even a hotel with the big names that are right here. So I might want to go to the Country Cafe because it's great, but I've never heard of it. So if I'm making a destination to go somewhere, I want a name brand TGI Fridays, or I want a Olive Garden, or I want to stay at a Hilton or a Hyatt or a B&B or a Best Western or Howard Johnson's, rather than the Deli Motel or Cody's Motel, which is pretty scary. Sorry if anybody's here from that. And then also is capture our historic eclectic businesses that we already have. Something people taking advantage of what we have in town. This is a great example of it, but like the Moody Building, also just sold so many little shops that could be developed in there. The downtown now with all the money that's being put into it. Hopefully this is the time that it's going to work. And it's not just going to be a nice looking downtown with good Christmas lights. It will have 40 shops instead of 12 antique stores. Okay. So we're hoping for that. That doesn't really cover that well, but Terry's part of the snowmobile scene. It's huge in that, and he's talked about how there's all kinds of trails. They're all well marked. What he's done is great, but there is no destination to go. Like, hey, let's stop off and get a coffee. Let's stop off and get a burger at a place, or where are we going to stay to start our adventure? And that's something that really could be developed in between Sunapee and the lakes and
because the trail network is really good, right? I mean, you've got a great trail network.
If you know that, then you know well. But if you're just coming up for the first time to check it out, he said you just really, you got to go and you got to come back, or you got to find someplace else to go off the trails. Yeah. That was kind of good. Okay. All right. All right. Thanks, guys. Great. All right. This is from you. Okay. Now we'll move over to this group here. Who's up?
I don't know, one of us. Yeah, he's going to interview me. Okay.
Great. So, Mark, what brings you to Claremont?
Actually,
where are you from?
New York.
Now what brings you to Claremont?
Well, I heard the train come straight here, so I thought, well, let me just check it out.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. So were you planning on just riding in and kind of looking around, or are you hoping to do something specific?
Well, I do have one friend in the area, so they were going to show me around.
They were going to show you around. Yeah. Did you avail yourself of any of the recreational packages that the community's been promoting?
Not yet, but we want to.
Right?
Yes.
Now, wouldn't that be great to have some of those packages available to you? You could just go ahead and enjoy some time at a restaurant or an opera house show, and after you've already gone to a hike with your family, and it's all part of the package that several of the local retailers have decided to put together.
Yeah, I had read about that, and I thought, God, if you take the train straight from New York, and then you get there, and you find these package deals, why not do it?
Right, and it's so close. In fact, isn't there a spur that goes right from the train station out of town to right in downtown Claremont?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, it makes it really easy to get here, doesn't it?
That trolley that was put in place in 2030 is really spectacular.
Yes, that's right. It's fantastic. Now that you're here and you've enjoyed yourself so much, what do you do for a living, Mark?
I'm retired.
You're retired. Yeah. Do you have family members, Mark, that might need a job here in town?
Yeah, I have a few. Yeah.
That's right. And so, isn't it wonderful that there's been so much economic development in the area that we have now provided plenty of jobs for people like your family members who may need that?
Right. And I do think, too, with the fast broadband that we have in the area, you can do any job from home in this area.
Brilliant. Yeah. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
So,
that's great. Yes, thank you guys. All right, so can you summarize here your actions, what you're recommending?
Well, we did.
Okay.
Sure. Well, one thing we talked about what is the ease of business creation here? So if we are looking to revitalize the downtown area, maybe not $1 million shops are going to come in, but we do think like a restaurant economy here could work, because these days if you want to buy something, you go online. But if you want to go to a restaurant, that's an experience. So an experience economy, whether that's hiking up Arrowhead, walking through Moody Park, or going to 2 restaurants in town. So we think, but the way to, the ability to create a business in town, maybe at the moment anyway, isn't as easy as it could be. So maybe there's some ways that we could facilitate that to make it easier for people who want to come in. A river walk. There's talk about making a river walk between the 2 bridges, the bridge right here and the bridge down with the Ford Paper Mill. Something like that would be another activity in town, easily accessible if you're staying here or other places to get to. So something like that could be probably worked on in the near term to get that going. We just talked about these travel visitor packages. So once we do have more sites in town to go to, they come and they can sign up for various packages and make it easier for them to come as visitors, whether they're staying a day or 3 days or 5 days. What else? What am I missing?
Unified Trail Network.
Oh yeah, Unified Trail Network. Just, you know, and I know there's work being done on that. So just making it easier for people who do want to come here and walk on the trails and hike the various spots here.
Excellent.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. All right. Okay, let's go to this group here. You guys ready? Here we go. All right.
Well, hey, Rocky, how are you doing here tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm Mark Pitkin. I'm from the Sugar River Chronicle. So we're the big new newspaper. We cover every single town on the Sugar River. You probably heard of us, right? Did you see the big billboard as you came in?
I did, yeah.
So I heard you came in from D.C.?
I did come in from
How'd you get here? Why are you here?
So I flew into the Sugar River Regional Airport. I put my brand new plane over in the Claremont Hangar Bay that just got finished. I'm here mostly just for the foliage. Fall, so it's nice and cool. Leaves are all changing colors. I'm enjoying the trails. Went and caught a concert over at the convention center.
Well, weren't you telling me you're staying at that big Marriott down the street?
Yeah, they just put a new Marriott in Newport, so I was staying over there.
Yeah, we were real pleased when that came in.
It's nice to have more lodging.
We have so much demand now. It's crazy. If you were to look back like 20 years, it was hard to even get like a 5-unit strip motel. And now we have major brands that just can't find places to come in. So we're glad you enjoyed that event center. What'd you see?
Luke Bryan.
Yeah, we've had him here a few times. You know, he's one of the smaller acts we've attracted up here to the Sugar River area. But so what else you doing sort of in town?
What
did you say you're doing some recreation?
Yeah, so I brought my bike. Strapped it up to the plane, I guess. Brought my bike. I was over at Arrowhead. I checked out Moody. A lot of great trails. I'm looking forward to coming back in the winter, do some cross-country skiing.
And weren't you saying that you were at the big horse farm here earlier, over to Ben's horse farm with all his horses?
I was. I went over to Ben's horse farm. They had a little concert. There was a little local band. They had a little pop-up. Sweet Fire had their beer tent over there.
He's sort of like the Yellowstone of the Sugar River.
Yes.
So we're real pleased. I mean, his place is huge. It is amazing. So many people come from all over the area just to see the recreational activities that we have here.
Well, that's good. Good.
So other things that you're doing here, so you know that we specialize in agri-tourism, right? We're doing a lot of that now.
Okay, can you tell me about it?
I can. So, you know, right next to Ben's horses, he has his agri-farm learning center.
Oh, wow.
So you're coming from the big city, right?
Yeah.
Do you farm in a big city?
No.
No, you don't. So you know what? People come here, they want to learn how to farm. And it's not, he not only has like the agri-farming, but I mean, you can learn anything with regards to churning butter, making milk, right? You can't find that anywhere, but we specialize in it. We specialize in that. And there's so many other things here. You know what the best thing about our area is? You've probably noticed it. If you go to the convenience store, when you first come into town, and you ask that person behind the convenience store, do you like living in town? And what did they say?
They said they love it.
Oh my God, and isn't that the best testament
It is.
to any place? And everybody in our communities on the Sugar River just absolutely love living here in 2035. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Tell all your friends to come.
I will.
All right, well, thank you very much.
So I think you guys covered most of these. Is there anything else you want to add on the actions here?
No, I mean, as far as actions, what we mostly came up with is working with our, our schools, our tech centers, stuff like that, trying to, like we said, we have a lot of people that are leaving, they grow up here, and then they're like, hey, there's more opportunities outside of there. So just trying to find those ways that we can kind of work with them to keep them around.
Absolutely. I like the transportation too. I spent some time looking for a driver today.
Yeah, that was another big thing that we were thinking about. Just in general, having something like the Uber, public Lyft, Zipcar, something that when you come into our areas and maybe you come into the Sugar River Regional Airport, now you can get around anywhere you want to, even though you don't have a vehicle.
Yep, excellent.
And we've got pizza drones.
Pizza drones.
2035.
Excellent. All right, thank you guys. All right, how about this group here? Nice.
All right, hello. I'm here with Rita at the groundbreaking for this new playground. You're here with your granddaughter Liz, right?
Yes, I am. I do come up every year with my granddaughter, especially because Town of Claremont has this very amazing tradition. It's called a baby tree. Every baby born in Claremont has a tree planted on the baby's behalf. And it's awesome to come back every year to see the baby trees for my grandchildren. It brings back the extended family, and we stay over here a little bit of a longer period of time because both of my sons ended up staying here. They like the style of living here because they can connect to disconnect. We have a very strong infrastructure. If they want to visit me and see the kid's grandmother in Denver, they can take the bullet train, which is an hour-and-a-half ride. Awesome to have Claremont have very good green energy infrastructure at the same time, right? So when I come to see my grandchildren and we have the baby tree celebration, I usually stay over at their house because it's powered with green energy. I do drive an electric car when I'm not taking a bullet train. So sometimes when I come up with my car, it's easy for me to have access to very good amenities. It's including also high-speed internet because, I'm global now, so I work most of my time online. But my children are here, and they're rooted here in this community, literally rooted because of the baby tree tradition. And they like to live here because one of them works for an international consulting firm out of this location, and that's what he chose as a profession. But my older son stays through to the region. And what the region is really known about is living close together with nature when it comes to attractions, day activities, or creating food for the community, import-export. They go to a university here that provided them hands-on agricultural education, which is one of the strongest in the state. And my children are happy here. They are here to connect, to disconnect. They choose the community over competition. They enjoyed the selective higher education that was offered to them. And isn't that a wonderful thing to celebrate all this happy and joyous life by paying our respect with our spring blooming baby tree that was planted on behalf of Claremont.
Yeah, you want to share?
You got most of them, or?
I think we got most of them. Okay. Number one for us was definitely infrastructure, to be able to connect with the world and not feel secluded and isolated and solve the problem where most globalized communities are trying to tackle now. We don't want to fall behind. We chose community over competition by having that created list of small businesses that brings in increased diversity. And it's not just Main Street businesses, not just retail businesses, but service industry and also manufacturing that we're capable of doing in large volumes here due to the infrastructure. And we also chose to elevate through selective higher education, really focusing on one niche, where we have no competition anywhere else. And that is definitely a hands-on agricultural education on a higher ed level. And of course, we also wanted to do something that roots us literally in the community, which is a wonderful binding tradition of having people bringing together and celebrate the roots and coming back with the trees, literally plant the roots in the region that can be very memorable through families, through multiple generations.
Yeah, I love that idea. Excellent, thank you. Okay, excellent. All right, we have one more group over here. Any volunteers?
Yeah.
If you just want to summarize your conversation, it's totally fine. If you don't want to.
You want to? So we took a little different approach to how we would see ourselves in 2035. I myself will be living in Summercrest, but the rest of this generation will still be around. What we talked about is how we capitalize on the arts, and in 2035, it's very prominent in the whole region. We don't have to have the discussion anymore, it just is. We also will have capitalized on the natural beauty of the area because it's one of the uniquenesses of the state. Sullivan County has an awful lot to offer in terms of natural resources and caters to just about every sport you can do outside. We also talked about how our downtowns in all of the county are revitalized, even the little teeny tiny towns that had wonderful, thriving community stores would be a destination for people to go up and down the whole of the Sugar River. We have many unique places to stay and great eateries so that there's plenty of opportunity for people to come and stay, whether it be the Marriotts that you folks suggested or more quaint little inns and boutique hotels. And we obviously have emphasized our rivers so that everybody knows where the Sugar River is and how much of a watershed it is all the way down through Washington into Cheshire County. And we now know we are a region. We aren't Claremont or Newport or Sunapee or Charlestown. We're the Sugar River region. And we all band together. We promote each other. We support each other. We have events that cross over from town to town. And we are communicating better about who we are because those of us who are native, so to speak, understand it, but those of you from away have to figure it out. And so we're better at that, and we are embracing social media, all kinds of different ways of communicating so that the next generation, the younger people, the 20-somethings, the 40-somethings in 2035, know how to find out who we are and how to get here.
Excellent. All right. Let's give a round of applause here. These guys. Nice job. Excellent job, guys. This is, I really enjoyed those dreams, those visions. I want to come visit the region. I mean, I've already loved it now, but I want to see those. Everything you described, I think, would make for an incredible place to live, place to work, and place to visit. And I also thought it was interesting how, even though you guys worked independently on those activities, how many things you had in common on those as well. I think the outdoor recreation and the arts, I think every single one of you mentioned that. You also talked about the diversity of new investments and new services for the visitor to enjoy is also coming this way. We got better transportation coming as well, which is exciting, especially that high-speed train and that regional airport. All good stuff. And that broadband as well. So really enjoyed seeing and hearing everyone's different summaries. I think that you all know that what you described there today is completely possible. I don't even think we need to wait till 2035. Some of those things, I mean, Riverwalk, we've heard about this, and that's a dream and something that's already in motion as well. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to have these discussions and to think into the future, because that's what we're ultimately trying to do. Is we want to dream of where we want to get to. We recognize that collectively we can achieve that dream by only working together. There's not one single person in this room who can make that dream come possible by themselves. As amazing as Derek is, I don't think he could do that. but I do think that collectively, if everyone's working together, we can do that. And this is the first step. And so I think what we've done here tonight is just kind of again, envision a better future for what the recreation industry and the visitor economy could look like, and how that can spill over to being, again, a great place to live that creates community pride. So I'm excited to start this journey with you, or to join your journey that you've been on for some time, and to help and to guide and see where we can go together. So looking forward to that. Next steps on this is we're going to take this information you shared with us here today, all the conversations I've had this week, and we'll continue having conversations, continuing networking with many of you. We talked about snowmobiles. I'd love to learn more about that and what we can do with that, with biking. You know, each piece of that overall vision you guys described is in this room. You know, we have the arts represented, we have the different recreation represented. So it's just now a matter of kind of seeing how we can pull all this together, put a plan together, and then just start focusing on the things that can be done in the short term. You know, there's certain things that can be done in the short term. We say low-hanging fruit, but there are certain things that can be done that can catalyze this. And once you start having some quick wins, then it's easier to tackle some of those other ones that are a little bit more challenging, but completely possible. So again, I look forward to working with you guys on this, and now I'll hand it over to Derek.
Chris, you mentioned you're coming back.
Oh yes, I'm coming back in February.
Yeah, so February we'll look to probably do something similar.
Sure,
I think
yeah,
we haven't really mapped that out yet, but hopefully something bigger and better and involve more people. So thank you very much for that. So Elise actually has an announcement that she wanted to make tonight. So somewhat unrelated to this, but we figured why not.
Thank you guys. I know that you're probably very interested. We're getting towards the end of the meeting, so I really appreciate Derek and Penelope and Chris giving me a couple of minutes up here. So the reason I'm here today is the Chamber of Commerce. I am Elise Crossman, the Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce here in Claremont. We have what we call our President's Awards, where we honor a citizen, business, nonprofit organization, young professional, and model youth every year. Now, normally, we announce those recipients at our holiday celebration, which was originally scheduled for tomorrow evening. However, that's had to be canceled. So we're coming up with some creative ways to let our recipients know that they are the recipients, and then they'll be formally honored at an awards ceremony in early 2022. So tonight, I wanted to talk to you a bit about the Citizen of the Year who's sitting in this room with you. The award was first given in 1957 and has been given annually since then. Criteria for this award includes lasting contributions to the community, being an inspirational role model, and commendable service that results in a better community for all of us. So quite fitting with what we've been talking about tonight that we're talking about this now. This year's recipient is described as a team leader, passionate, humble, and an outstanding volunteer. Now, that might very well be every single person in this room. Because there's a lot of really awesome things that you all are doing. But only one person here tonight can be called the epic trail builder, whose trails rival any place in New Hampshire and beyond, and is responsible for bringing a world-qualifying enduro mountain bike race to Claremont. It is my uttermost honor to announce that the 2021 Citizen of the Year is Mr. Rob Walker. But you'll get a super fancy one along with a fun award when we have your real special ceremony. So were you surprised?
Yeah, nobody leaked this. I'm shocked. How did this not get out? Like, my wife is here. She can't keep a secret.
I mean, we only told her a few hours ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you guys all for being part of this awesome thing.
So before we go, I want to give a shout out to the Common Man staff. Another awesome night. Thank you all for coming out. I have one last plug. On your table was, or actually on the table coming in, there was a 2-page sheet which just has a little summary of what's been going on. There are 2 things I wanted to just call out. The Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, aka the SEDS. That is another initiative that has a lot of overlap with what we're talking about here tonight. We've contracted with the Regional Planning Commission to get that done. The SEDS project needs a stakeholder committee. So we actually wanted to put out the call for volunteers tonight here. If anybody is interested in participating in that, then please let us know, and we will contact you and get you connected with the RPC I don't think it's a heavy lift. I think it mostly will be done either through email or Zoom. There might be some in-person meetings as we go forward, but the goal of the SED is to be done by the end of April. So it's going to be a pretty quick, hit it hard, hit it fast, get it done. All the municipalities in the county will benefit from having an updated SED that unlocks federal grant funding for major infrastructure projects. So it's really important to get it done. Maybe not done well, but done. But with your involvement, it will be done well. So if you are interested in being a part of that, please let us know. The second project on the back page is a Sugar River Region Trails project, also something that we're working with the Regional Planning Commission to do. Very excited about that. There's a little diagram that kind of outlines the framework for that project. Inventorying all of the trails that we have here. So we all know we have great trails, but do you know where they all are? Do you know what the use restrictions may or may not be? Do you know where all the Class 6 roads, things of that nature? And then the planner that's working it will also lead some public engagements to ask questions about what else do we need? Are there any gaps? Are there infrastructure improvement projects for our trails? Are there new trails that we need? Things like that. So we know that our trail network is a major asset and could be developed and utilized to a greater extent. This project is going to help us figure all that out. And if anybody has any other comments or feedback, or if you wish you could have been doing the interview or had more feedback you wanted to give tonight, didn't have time to, please contact Penelope or myself by phone or email. If you want to stay involved and keep abreast of what the Destination Council is up to, and of course, if you want to stay tuned for Chris's next trip up here and be involved in whatever we end up doing for when that happens, just please let us know. We'd love to continue the conversation. And Commissioner Osgood is going to take us home.
Designated driver. I want to thank everybody for coming here tonight, and I really enjoyed listening to all of these recommendations. And I need to say, I'm sitting here thinking, a house without a foundation does not go very far, and the foundation was set tonight. It really is impressive with what you put together for a foundation, but now it's time to build the house. And I think in order to build a house, it's going to take even more involvement. So I'm hoping people don't walk out of here tonight with their ideas in their head and do like I do with the paperwork. I get at a commissioner's meeting and throw it on the seat of my car, and then when I clean out my car, the paperwork's on my seat. So stay involved. I think you should really stay involved. I think this stuff can all come together, but without a vision, you don't really end up seeing your dreams come true. So stick with the vision and stick with the dreams. Thanks for coming. It was really nice to see all you people, some of them I haven't seen in a while, and have a safe trip home. Thank you.